Hello to everyone in the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Cathedral community and all of our friends. This is Father Jonathan. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to conclude our meditation on Psalm 141 with a reflection on Psalm 141, verse 11, the final verse in this psalm. And again, this is part of our larger conversation on the Psalms of liturgical worship. So although we'll end this psalm today, before we start the next, we'll begin to meditate again on the significance of the Psalms as a whole, and watch out for that in the next meditation. Verse 11, our verse today goes, "The righteous shall wait patiently for me until thou shalt reward me." The righteous shall wait patiently for me until thou shalt reward me. What does it mean to be righteous? Well, we've talked deeply about this, long about this in our meditation on the Beatitudes and other Psalms. But righteousness is to be acting and living authentically within God's divine plan for salvation, is to actualize in the world God's divine plan for salvation. So those who are waiting patiently are those who are living lives in order to actualize God's divine plan, God's salvation in the midst of the world. And what is our reward that this passage ends with? Our reward is not riches or wealth or certainty in this life. It's not material goods. That's not our reward. Our reward isn't favor amongst people. It isn't notoriety or prestige. Our reward is to be in communion with our God, to live in communion with our God and union with our God, to participate in divine life by grace. And what's interesting is this isn't something that we long for and is going to appear in the end of time, in some distant future. But what we realize is those who live righteously and wait patiently will come to realize that the reality of kingdom, the reality of union with God, communion with God, isn't something far off, but experienced here and now. Here and now, but we are called to share the reality of this life of grace and union with God, with all. That is our call, that is the command. To make disciples of all nations is to share the good news of God's salvation that is possible through righteousness, through living in accordance with God's divine will for salvation, a salvation of the whole world. We do all that we do for the life of the world, as we say in the Divine Liturgy. We become instances of divine human communion so we can share God with the world, the very God who we bear within us and who bears us within him. For we are God's by grace. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, so that those who believed in him shall not die but have life eternal. Life eternal is life in communion with God. It's not prolonged existence. It is not some distant future. It is here and now, living the reality of that union with God that is so graciously bestowed upon us. Sharing it not only with those who are around us immediately, but the whole world. And in this way, those who are righteous, those who are seeking to do the will of God, wait patiently for us to receive our reward so that we may share it with them. How do we do this? What does this look like in our life? It's unique and unrepeatable just as much as we each are unique and unrepeatable. This is something we have to dig deep and meditate on. How can I, in my present circumstance, actualize the reality of God's grace, God's mercy, God's love, the gospel in the midst of the world. What are you called to? How are you called to live this life? Reflect on that, meditate on that, and let us know. Call us, email us, leave a note in the comments section, send us a message on social media. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but we'd love to hear from you. How are you utilizing this beautiful ministry that we've been able to offer you, Father Vasilios and Father Christian and I? How are you using this ministry to shape your spiritual life, to live a more authentic life of faith? In the meantime, if you'd be interested in supporting this ministry, there'll be a link below. But we love you. We're here from you. Don't hesitate to reach out. God bless you and have a beautiful rest of your day.